everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, May 8th of 2022. And it's a Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there. Now, Mother's Day is something that I truly love because it gives us a reminder, something we should think about on a regular basis of the women, the mothers in our lives, especially the women who gave birth to us, maybe if we're a mother ourselves, the children that we get to mother. And I think it's just such a special part of being a human woman, as speaking as a person who's a mother myself, that it's nice to have a day where we get to say, okay, I'm going to shower some extra attention onto my mother and the women in my life who are mothers. So if it's someone who is your wife, it's your girlfriend, maybe your mother-in-law, somebody who is a mother, that we get to just give some special attention, maybe some pampering to the women in our lives that are mothers. Now, my own mother was such a special woman, and I know I talk about my dad a lot, so this is always a really important day for me to kind of bring a little bit of attention to my own mother. Now, my parents met at college, and my mom basically told my dad when they first met that she wanted a big family. In fact, her words were, "I want a dozen kids." So my dad was also very interested in having a big family. And, you could say times were different where big families seemed to be not a little bit more accepted, maybe a little more doable, maybe a little bit easier to raise a big family. Um, and I actually personally know people who have big families now and they're raising them, but it seems it was a little bit more common back then. Now, a dozen kids is definitely maybe double of what someone might consider a big family, or even triple. But my dad, Ed, was fully, yes, let's have a lot of kids. So shortly after they got married, my mom had her first baby, who is the sister who's older than me, and then I'm second oldest. And then what a lot of people might not know, because I really don't talk about it that much, but my mom had 11 natural kids, and of the 14 of us, there are 3 adopted Native American kids. So when I was 4, my oldest sister was 5, my parents adopted a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So 2 little girls and a boy. They were from the same family, Native Americans. And then my mom was pregnant and just barely gave birth after they adopted these 3 to her 5th daughter. So my mom had 8 kids under the age of, so 5 and under, when we first adopted my siblings who are Native American. And they grew up with us. They are full siblings. In fact, sometimes I don't even really, it's not that I don't think of them as my siblings, but as anything else, but they are my full siblings. And it was such a beautiful way to grow up, because it also just showed us we're all one. We're all part of the same human family. And my mom was the most organized, self-disciplined mother on the planet, and she was so creative with us. One of her biggest things that she used to love to do with us was art. She always made sure we had paper, pencils, crayons, scissors, and we have this great big kitchen table. And a lot of times the way we entertained ourselves, especially maybe on a cold winter day, or because we didn't get to watch a lot of TV, which that alone was a huge blessing, but we would be creative. So when we weren't outside playing, we were doing art. She used to bake bread and I learned how to bake bread when I was about 10. And I could, on a Saturday, or I'd come home from school, and we would bake up 8 loaves of bread at once, all normal. That seems so normal to me. And to this day, I can still bake up bread, even though at this point I don't eat a lot of bread and I don't bake a lot of bread, but it's something I know how to do. And it seemed really like a beautiful life skill that my mom gave us. She taught me how to sew. Like, I can whip up a quilt for a friend if it's their birthday. And this is one of the ways that I can show someone that I really, like, you mean so much to me. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to spend, and I'm going to make you something that I know is going to have deep meaning. And over these years as an adult, and I still do this to this day, I will make a quilt for a friend. Um, because to me, that's one of the best gifts you can give, is a gift of your time. And then you get a homemade blanket. And this is a gift that I got from my mom, teaching me to do that. And in fact, when I was raising my boys, I actually sewed a lot of their clothes, right? I mean, how beautiful is that? In fact, I think my kids were in the later ages of grade school when they finally said, "Hey, can we buy our own jeans?" Because I even knew how to make jeans and pants for my boys, and it was kind of like, "Hey, mom, your homemade stuff is great, but hey, can we go to the store and buy some jeans?" So there are these deep skills that I know we get from our mothers that we might take for granted. We might not realize how amazing they are until we're adults. But these are the things that we are gifted from our mothers, besides the gift of life, right? And I know there's, complications sometimes with parents and mothers, and it might not always look like the perfect relationship. I know that that is out there. And even the relationship my mom had with all of her children as adults, it's not that there was contention, but it wasn't always just this absolutely perfect relationship. I mean, this is all part of being a messy human, right? But I think today is such a beautiful day to recognize and remember these women in our lives who gave birth to us, who maybe was a surrogate mother, someone who stepped in and played a mothering role for us. This is an important part of the human community where we get to gather in and help raise and nurture these kids as they come in, and even as adults we need maybe some mothering and nurturing, and this is such a beautiful part of our mothers. One of the things that I think is really amazing about what mothers do is they bring serenity, they bring beauty into a home, and fathers can do this too. This is definitely not discounting that piece, but it typically, traditionally, is the woman who has a softer touch. And as far as just the soothing, the nurturing, and trust me, I know plenty of nurturing men, and I am definitely giving grace and love to the men in the world. But today, focusing on the mothers is such a beautiful thing. So I hope that if you have a mother who's still around, that you are going to at least reach out to her if she lives far away, spoil her with a phone call, with a note. In fact, one of the things that I think we need to bring back, maybe write a physical letter to your mother and let her know how much you love and appreciate her. And maybe if you're estranged from your mother, this is maybe a good time to see if that's mendable, to see if there's something that you can put behind you, something that you can forgive. Maybe there's something that you need to forgive in yourself that can help repair a connection between your mother. I mean, these are all, again, the nuances of knowing that relationships are not perfect, and they're not supposed to be perfect. They're supposed to be exactly what they are, because we are here to have these experiences and to realize that as we go through life, we get to evolve, we get to become better. And every week that goes by, every month that goes by, every year that goes by, we get these opportunities to become better, to become more loving, to raise our levels of growing and learning and forgiving each other. And again, a piece of that is forgiving ourselves. We hold ourselves to these high standards, which is good, but if we don't forgive ourselves, then we're not living in the moment. We're living in our mind. We're living in the past. And I would like to challenge you to take this day and moving forward, be present. Be in this present moment. Look at the moments in our life that come. In fact, yesterday I got to hang out with my sister, she's the youngest sister of all of us, so she's about 20 years younger than me. So she has two little girls. They're 7 and 10. And they came over to my house. I love them, like I love my own grandkids. They're just these lovely, sparkly, so amazing kids. And my sister and I, as her kids were playing at my house, we just had this lovely conversation, and we were talking about our mom. We were talking about the things that we learned from her. We love that we got that as part of our personality, and it's just this remembering to be present. In fact, one of the things that I know as an older mom, because my youngest will be 40 this year, so my kids are way grown. In fact, it's funny because my oldest son, Scott, actually said, "Okay, you have kids who are middle-aged, Mom." I'm like, Okay. Okay, that's good. You don't need to remind me. But here's the thing. We get to be present. We get to be present. In fact, one of the things that I've learned as a person now who has grandkids and younger nieces and nephews is that I get to be fully present with them when I wasn't fully that way with my own kids. If I could have just stopped what I was doing, looked them in the eye when they were talking, when they were telling me all these things that are in their imagination, and said yes more. I think one of the things that I really watch when I watch my younger siblings parent is sometimes the no comes out way too fast. And I'm not saying you should let your kids do anything they want and run all over you, but sometimes we do need to say yes to more moments. We need to say yes because we're alive and we're here. It's just like what I talked about, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, about dancing in the rain and having fun in this human body, realizing that we are a human. We have so many opportunities to experience what it means to be a human. So I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful day with your mom, if your mom is around, if your mom is still with us. And I hope that you hug her, you tell her you love her, wrap her up in some pampering, and do that for the other women in your life who are mothers and you have that opportunity, because I think it's a beautiful sacred calling to be a mother. I know that I feel that even more strongly every day that goes by, because I loved being a mother when my kids were little, but you always realize, oh, I could have done that better and I could have done this better. And this is just part of the maturity that we get. And it's almost like as our kids are adults, we get these other opportunities to just shower them with love, acceptance, understanding. And if they ever come to us for advice, we are like grateful. Um, and hopefully we have some type of wisdom and calmness and serenity that we can pass on to them. So I do hope you have an absolutely spectacular, beautiful Mother's Day that you can really just, like I said, wrap your arms around the mothers in your life and shower them with love. So I hope you have a beautiful Sunday. It's going to be fun to go through this month, the rest of this year. I think that we're holding on for a ride. We're holding on for a beautiful ride of humanity. And we're all in this together. So I love you tons. I hope you have a beautiful, spectacular day, and we will see you soon.